Construction stigmas. That's what I'm going to talk about. There's too many of them. We can go through a litany of them and we all know what they are. Whether it's construction contractors are bad with money, whether it's I only get into construction if I don't get into college. That was more when I was younger, more my generation, not so much now. You have to be flush to have this job. Or I can't negotiate terms with my GC or my general contractor or my owner or developer because it's going to make me look weak. God forbid I talk about finance partner. What if I had a finance partner and I got to work with them? That's even worse. All those stigmas are terrible. But I'm going to focus on one today that's even more important. How these stigmas are impacting the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems right now in construction, and that's the skilled labor shortage. My name's Scott Peper. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mobilization Funding, and for the last 10 and a half years, we've been helping businesses with a lot of these problems, and we've been hearing about them firsthand, and we've been working closely with these folks. And I'm going to share with you today some of these stigmas, how they've impacted you, and what you can do to fix them. So let's talk about these stigmas now. How did they get here? Well, I don't really know, but they've been here for a long period of time. They stick around and they build in and they grind in. And I think a lot of it has to do with a couple things. Construction industry is, let's just call it what it is. It is a lot tougher of an industry than others. I'm not saying it's the toughest, and I'm not saying that others are not tough and this one is tough. I'm just saying that it's tough. Whether it's cash flow, whether it's the fact that you're actually building something big, it's heavy, it's expensive, it's either vertical or horizontal or sometimes both. It takes a lot of employees of all different types. You need finance, you need operations, you need technicians, you need skilled labor, you need unskilled labor, you have high payroll, you have expensive insurances, you have lots of different vendors. I mean, it's just a lot going on in construction. Let's just face the facts, okay? And so in the business, you have a very complex business made up of a lot of different avenues and paths, not that aren't all in other industries. It's a high dollar item oftentimes. You have multiple other businesses that you have to work with closely on a construction site. You have multiple construction sites going on. It's just a lot, okay? And so that leads to some of these stigmas. Now, what's also happens is you have an older industry that is made up of a lot of folks who just are kind of stuck in their ways. They haven't necessarily expanded the construction industry as much as others have. And what I mean by that is when you're used to building a building or building a wall or being an electrician or being a plumber, you do what you do and you do it well. And you just put your head down and you go. Those stigmas kind of get created because no one's kind of changed the system. And the same thing with prime contractors or general contractors. You're naturally at odds a little bit on a construction site because you're contractually on opposite ends of a contract. Everybody's trying to displace this tough industry. They're trying to displace risk onto one another, whether it's the owner of the project onto the general contractor onto the subcontractor back onto the general contractor, and then subs onto other subs. And then we have the bank or the financing institution trying to displace their risk onto the owner developer or the GC or the contractor. Who knows? Either way, you have all this risk and it's being pushed around. And that risk is what makes people uncomfortable. And it's also that risk that, in my opinion, is what creates a lot of these stigmas. So let's talk about the skilled labor shortage specifically. In this industry, it's tough. People, when I was growing up, I thought that people got into construction who didn't go to college. Boy, was I wrong. But that's how I thought. I didn't know that. I didn't know any different. Now, my dad, he worked with a lot of general contractors, but he owned a commercial glazing business. And we worked on lots of projects together. And I did that a ton. And I primarily worked with skilled laborers and sometimes the unskilled laborers. I was on construction sites doing the work. And what I realized, it was hard manual labor. And that was my perception of construction. And I thought that if you get into the construction industry, that's all you do. You know what? At 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, when I was doing that through high school and college, I didn't really get into the executive office and realize there's a whole finance arm to the business. There's a whole bidding and estimating to the business. And all these other skilled, knowledgeable positions that you can be in the construction industry. I didn't even understand how you could actually get to the point where you might be developing a construction site, whether it's commercial, residential, or other. There's so much in there. And I think educating the world that's out there today will bring and attract more people to the construction industry so they don't think there's just one pathway in. I think a lot of times, specifically for my generation or my age group, we thought construction was one way in. It was through the hard work, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll fall into starting your own business if that's what you want to do. And then you can have all the repercussions of joy and pain associated with doing that. And it's just not true. You can go to college for all kinds of different skilled positions and then enter into a construction company in any capacity: leadership, development, finance, operations, bidding, estimating, engineering, architecture. I mean, there's just so many you can do, and it's very, very important. What's also cool about it is you can enter in at the very bottom and learn all the way up to the top. And whether you're in your own business or whether you work for some other business, there's so many pathways to work with that. And I don't think that story has been told in the right manner to everyone as much as the other story. And that's what's created those stigmas. And hence, because most of the construction industry has been involved early on, is now in the older age group. They're over 40, moving through 50 and 60, and we haven't replaced that age group. A great majority of the construction industry today is going to retire in the next 10, 12 years. And it's very critical and important that some of these stigmas around construction, and I won't even call them stigmas anymore. Let's just say we tell a different story, the actual true story about construction to the world out there today, and let's attract them. What if everybody in high school knew that if you didn't want to go to college, you don't have to. You can go to vocational school. What if they knew that if you went to vocational school within 6 months, 12, 18 months, you could have an electrical license. You could be an apprentice. Within a few years later, you could be making over 6 figures a year. That story is never told to me. I thought to make 6 figures a year, I was going to have to go into the NBA or do something miraculous. I had no clue how I was going to make 6 figures. And so what did I do? I went to college. I went to college for food, hotel, hospitality management. And I'm at a finance company now. And I never even spent more than 6 months in food, hotel, hospitality management. I graduated with a degree, $50,000, $60,000 of debt. Maybe if I knew I could go right into the electrical trades or right into plumbing or right into another area, that all of a sudden I could be making $100,000 in 2 or 3 years without even going to college, I probably would have looked at that. I looked at it a lot harder. So I think we need to tell those stories. There's great companies out there, specific companies that are marketing and entertaining and showing them what they do in a totally different way, whether it's through LinkedIn or online social or on YouTube. There's so many construction videos and there's so many cool jobs out there now that those stories are being told. I think it's really impactful. That storyline around skilled labor is what's creating that shortage. And so all companies in construction need to start telling the story better of what they do. We need to remove these stigmas. We need to stop the infighting. We don't need to have construction general contractors and construction subcontractors pushing on each other associated risk. Let's just put it on the table and say, here's the risks of the project. How can you help me? How can I help you? I can accept this. I can't accept that. And share and take. And then let's tell the story about performance. Performance is the most important thing on a construction project. If you talk to any owner developer, any bank, any general contractor, they're going to tell you, first and foremost, the most important thing on that project is to finish the project. If you talk to any construction subcontractor, they are focused on finishing the project. That's what they want to do. But what ends up happening? Everybody focuses on price. So price is important, but performance is critical. So let's focus on why you need certain things so that you can perform. Once you outline what it's important that you need to perform, and you have to be honest with yourself. If you're a commercial subcontractor, be honest with what you really need in order to perform. And I did a video on financial acumen and expertise in your business. Understanding, having that financial expertise so you know what you need, so that you can sit across the table from a general contractor and say, I'm going to nail this project. I'm going to do amazing at it, and here's the reasons why. But in order to do that, I need these 4 or 5 things, and they're reasonable things. You need to be paid within 45 days, and it can't go over 60. And if it does, here's the reasons of how it's going to impact you. And you're comfortable enough to have that conversation. Look, the materials are just too expensive on this project for me to float. I'm going to need some help with extended terms on this project. I need to work with you, general contractor, to work with my supply house to be able to get these lead times quicker or shorter. And how can we make that work? I can't float 60 days worth of these material expenses. It'll hurt me too much. And then I'm going to show up on the project. I'm going to be impaired. I won't be able to get my payroll. I won't be able to get the staff out here. Here's where the problem is. Otherwise, I'm going to be able to nail this, because if you can help me with this, I got all the runway in the world. Or I have a great finance partner that can help me on this project financing, but I need you to be able to help me with them to do this, this, and this. And the general contractor needs to look at them as a tool and say, you know what? The fact they have a finance partner, regardless of what it is actually a good thing. Just like every other industry in the earth. If you have a finance partner that can help you grow or help you cash flow your projects or cash flow your business, that's always looked at as a good thing in every industry. But for some reason, in the construction industry, it's looked at as a weakness. And worse, the construction subcontractors not only look at that as accept the fact that they look at it as a weakness, but they're unwilling oftentimes to lean back on that and say, that's not a weakness, that's my strength. That's how I'm able to perform. I have the money to pay my people. I have the money to float your materials. I have the money to float the labor so that I can manage this unbelievably difficult construction, the cash flow in the construction industry. That cash flow in the construction industry isn't anyone's fault. That's just how it is. Everyone's just living with it. So if everyone was paid instantaneously the day they did their work, there wouldn't be any problems. And you know what? Performance would be way better. Performance would be a lot easier to manage. There wouldn't be half these issues, but that's not the reality. So the reality is, let's talk about the solutions around that and accept that. Let's tell that story. And we can then start to attract more talent, increased talent, new talent, younger talent into the construction industry and solve the skilled labor shortage. It may sound a little different than just pushing people into vocational school. Vocational school is also critical. We need to have more of them. We need to focus on those and make them efficient so that people can get not only experience, but they can get educated and trained. Telling the stories that are going to be impactful to the industry, telling the stories that will be impactful to the younger generation that want to look for a great opportunity. Expanding your company to have great leadership, great development, great benefits, great opportunity, showing what your mission is, showing how you're improving, showing what you're doing from a marketing aspect will draw and attract even more talent. Getting rid of that old guard of do what I say and this is what I say, but having great core values wrapped around a great mission to do really good work. Look, the construction industry touches every single thing in the world. There's not a business, there's not an industry, there's not a person that isn't impacted every single day by the construction industry, whether it's the road, the building they're in, the cars they are driving, how the cars get transported to where they are, all of it is here, okay? Let's talk about how you're delivering on that and your culture and core values so that people can pour into those businesses and be attracted to them versus the stigmas like I had. I thought it was just, I'm going to go out there and dig a ditch, or I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to do whatever these guys want me to do so that I can get the job done. That is part of it, but it doesn't mean it's the only part of it. It doesn't mean what I'm going to be doing my whole life. So let's talk about what happens if we don't do these things. Well, if we don't do these things, a couple things are going to happen. It's going to be harder to do projects. You're not going to be able to do as many because we just don't have as many skilled laborers. We don't have as many unskilled laborers. It's going to cost more for everyone. The developer, the owner, the businesses, your business. You're going to have to bid more because you're going to have to pay people more to stay in the industry longer. You're going to have folks that aren't able to do the same amount of work they could do at 55 that they could do at 35. So what does that mean? Well, it means it takes longer. It also means they're going to have to pay them more because they've earned more over 20 years. So all the costs are going to go up. It also means that certain things aren't going to be as safe, right? It's just, let's face the facts. There's certain things that are better for younger folks to do than older folks to do. That's okay. You're supposed to have a great balance and blend of all different types of age groups, capabilities in a company, particularly on a project, construction site. If you have everyone on the construction site is trying to do everything of all aspects, that's not healthy. So safety could become a concern. So these things are critical, and they're not critical for just someone else to do. They're critical for everyone to do. So no matter what size business you're in construction, no matter what trade, no matter where you are in the life cycle of your business, whether you're just starting or you're very senior and you've been in multi-generational business, it's important for you to start telling this story in a better way. And that's how you'll solve the skilled labor problems. And you'll attract more skilled labor. You'll bring more talent, and you'll bring the best talent. And these folks that are out there that are super talented, that think the wrong thing about construction will start thinking about the right thing at construction. And they'll see all the endless opportunities that this industry in any construction business can bring to them, much more so than others, in my personal opinion. This is one of the only industries on earth that you can do just about anything you want to do, whether it's technical, operations, engineering, architecture, hard labor, grow a business, start a business of any size, government work, non-government work, private work, non-private work, residential, commercial, all sizes, all scopes. There's many, many things you can do. And that's really difficult to say about other industries. And the ability to grow and expand yourself, your business, and your capabilities inside the construction industry is endless. And those are the stories you want to tell. You're going to attract a ton of talent when we start telling the real story about construction. I hope this video has helped you guys. There's lots of information here. Please share it. If you found this at all impactful, I really hope you share it with everyone else. Subscribe to our channel, share it, find me on LinkedIn. There's great resources at mobilizationfunding.com on our resource page to help use this. And also, we created a Do Your Part pledge that talks specifically about this. And there's a great t-shirt. I'd love to send you one. Come in and take the pledge. Have a great day. God bless you.